So that's for general live coding. Any questions that they want to see from this test exercise? The answer can be no, but it's just like, if there's anything, let's just do it. The update vote. Okay, sure. How to get a okay. So let's do two things. Okay, so I need to actually clone this project because I haven't had it. 1 second. Test exercise. Code. Open with the GitHub desktop. By the way, have you guys noticed how fast it compiles compared to the other ones? Because it's just a palette. Let it think real quick. Okay, so the two questions I've had so far was inside the tests, there's a test to check that can update vote. Is that the one you want? All right, can update vote. And this is from make vote. So let's take a look here. So this is testing the extrinsic make vote. And can update vote seems to me like a user makes an initial vote, and then the user wants to update the vote, so they can call make vote again with a different value, and that the vote will actually get updated, right? And represented correctly. So that's what we're going to do here. So I already know in this test, I'm going to have to call make vote twice, right? With two different values. And I might want to, in the first vote, check that the value stored was A. The second vote, the value stored was B, right? So let's do that. So can update vote. Let's look at this. Let's look at the lib. Make. I'm going to want to add partial EQ. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. Let me think. So make vote. So first I need to actually register voters, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So in my test, I'm going to do assert. Okay. Palette. Register voter. Is it named palette? Template module. Register voter, and the inputs, let me bring this to the side. The inputs to register voter is an origin and a who. Okay, so we just need to register one voter. Okay, register voter. So that's going to be runtime origin root, right? Comma who, account 0. Just do let Alice equals 0. By the way, you're gonna really thank yourself in the future when you actually assign variables to these kinds of things, because at some point you're gonna update a test and you're gonna have to find a million zeros and update them to ones, and you're not gonna know which zeros are zeros. Like, if you have a story in your head about the test, like you're doing with Alice, this is the right way to do stuff. Okay, so let's just make sure this works so far. Again, I'm doing very small incremental changes and making sure. So I already have a fail. I forgot the new test text. Oh gosh. It can happen to anyone. Execute with this. Yeah, normally I'm copying tests which already have this, so. Okay, there we go. By the way, read the errors. Read the errors. They usually tell you the answer most of the time. We try a good job to do that. Okay, so this works so far. So we register an account, okay. Then we make a vote. Do we need to make a vote? Register vote can make or update the vote. Oh, is there only one? There's only one thing at a time, right? Okay, there's only one vote going on. Make vote. Yeah, okay. So obviously this is not a very scalable system because there's only ever one vote happening, okay? I would like in your project with the quadratic voting, multiple votes at once, right? You can imagine you just add an index which vote that I want to vote for, okay? Okay, assert, okay. Template module, make vote with an runtime origin of signed coming from Alice, right? She's a voter. And the vote, so there's a vote type. So I'm going to actually go here, make a variable. Let Alice vote equal vote. And her vote is going to be, I guess, I, right? So I don't have to do this. I can do vote I. And then she's going to make this, and she's going to do Alice vote. Okay. And so let's make sure this compiles. Looking good. Okay. And then assert OK is not good enough. I want to verify that the storage actually stored her vote, right? So it's going to be inside of the votes, right? So I can get assert equal that votes colon runtime colon get. So this actually, I should do a few steps here. Let's do a few steps. So I should do let votes. This is a vector, so I can do here vec, right? Equals votes runtime get. So now I have a vector of votes. By the way, vector of votes is probably not always the best idea. Let last vote, sure, that's fine, is equal to votes dot, does pop work? Is that a thing? Or like last? Maybe unwrap? I don't know the APIs here. And then assert last vote is Alice vote, right? Someone tell me the APIs here for the vector. No information for, okay, so you're right, I need the EQ. So so I need to here add, no, there's EQ. This object, okay, it's who and vote, okay. So, there's no EQ on it? Ooh, okay, so we just add it. Okay, sorry y'all. We should add EQ here and partial EQ. Someone remind me to update the template with this. Okay. Okay, so we do that. So yeah, last vote is not just this. It should be Alice and her vote. So last vote should be equal to, so then here, expected vote. Let expected vote equals user vote with who is Alice with vote Alice vote. Right? So the variables here are very nice to help me construct things. And verbosity, like tests, we're not looking for optimal code. Tests, the best test is the one that's easiest to read. Add extra lines, add extra variables, copy things around. Tests are not, they're not, what is it called? They don't need to run fast, right? They need to be easy to read and audit, right? So I hope that this is the easy to read and audit. So last vote should be expected vote, right? This is a very clear way to read this test. Okay? No implementation for, so is there, I have a reference, is that the problem? Palette user vote. So I think here, the way I would solve it, so right now I'm getting some errors. The way I'm going to solve this actually is to be more explicit with types. I'm seeing somehow there's some kind of type error, right? Expected vec found bounded vec. Okay. So this is bounded vec. Okay. And bounded vec takes 2 parameters. Okay. I don't need to specify it because I think Rust can figure it out. And now, no implementation for ampersand user palette vote for palette votes. So somehow I'm getting a reference here, right? So I can put a reference here and get them the same. Thanks, Rust, for nothing. Okay, it works. I now have tested the very first vote is going through. Now I want to make sure that the updated vote works, right? So I can basically copy and paste all of this again, right? Alice vote. Because I think actually in this context it's nice because I'm with the user vote, it also has Alice involved. So if there was some test where something was ordered, like imagine I accidentally got Bob's vote in there. Like this, I mean, either is okay. It's all okay. In the context of this test, testing the last vote, exactly that thing, that would have worked fine too, right? But in this case, I actually kind of like including Alice because it's the user I expect, right? That makes sense. Okay. So Now let's change Alice new vote to nay, right? Make vote with Alice and Alice new vote, right? And then we get the votes again. We have to get it again. The last vote, expected vote, is Alice, Alice new vote, and the last vote is expected vote. Ooh, wait, yeah, expected vote? Yeah, okay, good, Alice new vote. And so what I would do finally is write some comments here. So I would make a story around this. I would say something like, Alice is registered to vote. Alice initially votes aye. Alice changes her vote to nay. Let me see, I can do this. So Alice votes aye. We confirm Alice's vote in storage is what we expect. Alice changed her vote to nay. Vote, Alice's vote is updated. Okay? And that I think is a very solid end-to-end test for that thing. Any other questions? Oh, go up. Sorry. Are we changing the stories? Oh, so imagine this. This happens all the time. Alice is a whale. Alice has millions of dots. Alice, but without consulting someone, votes, no, we're not going to fund the PBA. I don't think it's worth the money. And then we see the vote on the chain. The vote hasn't passed yet. And then students like you be like, hell, you don't understand what's going on. This was a great program. The money is definitely worth it, etc. You send emails to her. You tell her presentations or whatever information you need to make her whatever. She says, you're right. I made a mistake. I voted no. I'm going to change my vote to yes. I don't think that people should be, in voting systems, you have to be locked in with the way that you voted, right? So this is having a voting system which allows you to change your vote seems like a very normal thing, especially since the vote timeline is long, right? So this is part of the process of an open governance system, that someone might think one way, and you can then, based off of the fact that some big whale said no, make a proposal why they should change. Now, ideally, these kinds of conversations happen before the vote, right? But again, there's no reason that you can't change the vote. Another reason you could change the vote. Here, our votes are only yes and no. In the quadratic voting system or in other voting systems, you actually vote with the amount of tokens. I don't just say yes, I say yes with 1,000 tokens. But let's say the vote takes 1 month to proceed. I might, it might be that I use my 1,000 tokens, I lock it up, but then I realize I ran out of money, I need to pay my bills, so I want to vote yes, but then lower it from 1,000 to 500, so I can then unlock my funds and spend it, right? So all of these reasons are valid reasons why you would want to update your vote, and this is why you should have a flexible system. Okay. How do I check an event? Okay, so to check an event, I think I did that in the test yesterday, but it's fine. It's pretty quick. Let's just do it with the make vote. So when make vote happens, we'll see a deposit event new vote, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So at here, I should expect, so there's tools available to us from frame system. So if I do system, assert, last event, and what is it, new vote and who, that's it. So assert last event is create event runtime new vote with who is Alice, right? I think that's it. Assert last event. Oh, expected. Oh, I'm missing into. So here, this is a create event. I need a runtime event. So I just call .into. And this is telling me that. Expected runtime event found event runtime. So I do .into. It converts to the type. System is automatically into scope here because it is in your mock here. But you could replace system here with frame system palette. It's the same thing, right? But so I'll leave it like this, so it's a little bit more explicit. And it says, it panicked. Events not registered Genesis block. So I made both mistakes that I just talked about. Here I'll put frame system palette runtime set block number 1. But okay, oh, uno más. Cannot. So I need to put it here. Palette T. Remember that system is equal to, so there's a type system being built in the background that's equal to frame system palette runtime. That's what we talked about today, right? This is being generated for you automatically, coming from construct runtime. But this is inserting the last event. It's exactly what I expected, right? So this is the basics. So let me paste this into chat. This one test. And then let's so is there any more questions about this specific exercise? One more. Yeah, can you just get the mic and say it?
About the test, cannot register too many. So I want to override the default max voters to like maybe 1 or 2.
Sure.
To just speed up the test.
Sure. I'll say this. In that context, doing a loop of 100 is probably not a big deal. But if you wanted to change it, we can do that. So we're going to use the tool that we learned about in the presentation to. Oh, this is the wrong project. To make this static configurable, right? So we're going to bring in. So here is constant 100. What we can do instead is parameter types, and make a pub static called my max voters. This is exactly what we saw in the presentation. I'll actually even bring up the presentation real quick. In the construct runtime here, parameter type is pub static my max voters. Okay, it's U32 with 100, and then I change this to use my max voters. And at this point, I now have access in my tests to call my max voters set. So that's what this presentation showed. You now have set and get APIs. So you can go into here. So let me see. This is the cannot register too many, right? So let's bring some registration code. Register vote. So for I comma for 0 dot dot for I in for I can't write rest anymore. For I in, let's just do 100. We'll just play around stuff. Okay, so it's 99. Register voter of I, right? So this should work, right? Because I'm only registering. Oh, this is registering 99, right? This is okay. My max voter is not found in here. Let's go. Oh, I didn't save this file? Wait, my max voters. Oh, I forgot to bring parameter types in. So I need to, it's telling me I need to import parameter types macro. So again, listen to the compiler. Compiler's your friend. It's telling you the answer to all your problems. Okay. Did not expect this in the macro call. Huh? Is it the wrong? Let me try this. Okay. Pub static my max voters U32. No rules. Let me see. Let me show you this. Foo. Name. Dude, I'm crazy. This worked for someone, right? In this. But the name doesn't matter. Name shouldn't matter. I'm importing the wrong parameter types. That is terrible. Then there should not. How can there be two parameter types? That's a big no-no. Sorry. Whoa, that is terrible. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if anyone ran into that. Okay. I forgot the new test external. Okay. No one is perfect. New test X. Execute with. That honestly make a PR for that. That's not okay. Okay. This should work, right? Every one of these should be okay. Okay? So every one of these is okay. The next one should fail. So we're doing assert no op. So after I do a 100 loop, assert no op, register voter, root, and I do 100, right? Or something like that. I can do 1337. It's cool. This should be assert no op, and it should return the error. What's the error? Too many voters. Oh, it's not T, it's runtime. So it's actually saying it is okay. So I need to maybe do 100. Because 100 is the max. Okay, now everything passes, right? So, but I wanted to show you now you can actually lower the number, right? So we can actually make this my max voters, or is it, what is it now? It's max voters, okay? Max voters set, let's do 101, right? Now my test will fail. But I can make my tests agnostic to this problem by putting, instead of here, I can put let max voters equal max voters get, right? And then I can do max voters here, right? And now this is a test that will always pass. Supposedly. Oh, it should be, maybe this just means U32. I.into. Expected U64, found U32. Okay, so it wants me to do, this is the U64 type. So dot into. And this will always pass, right? So if I set it to 2, it will only loop 2 times. So what we did here was we basically created this static type using parameter types, using the correct parameter types macro. And then from this, we can use it still as a constant here, but we can also edit it here. Okay? Any more questions specifically on the test exercise? Okay, hopefully you all learned something. Hopefully reading the code was good. There's a lot of things learned here. Again, very applicable to your end-to-end tests. So let's spend the next 30 minutes doing more live coding for any of the projects. Who has a question about the project that they would like to see programmed? Oh, but before we do that, Alex gave me a good recommendation, which I use on my main computer. As I said, this is my MacBook Air. I didn't have it set up initially here, but there's this plugin called Peacock, which I really like. I think there might be another one that he mentioned. But Peacock gives me this nice pink border around my project, right? And as I said, when I program, I'm constantly having like my project open and then something like the Polkadot SDK open. So let's say I'm working on my project. I've marked it yellow here. And then for Mac, I can switch to pink. I can know, like, between which project I'm working. So this, I actually use this on my main computer all the time. I have Substrate, Substrate green, Polkadot pink. My projects are like blue or whatever kind of stuff, and I can just quickly jump between the two. So this is a plugin called Peacock. And it adds this thing. So I like it, and it really, like, you know, in this view, it helps me find the project I'm working on. Small things, but it's nice. Okay, so anyway, in that context, I have yellow as our project. Any questions? Let's push whatever changes I have. This is HK. Oh, and look, this Peacock is coming in. Okay, I'm gonna hide it. Git ignore. Dot vs code. Oh, dot vs code. Git ignore vs code test bad origin test. Okay, bad origin test. No questions. Everyone finished their project successfully. Amazing. Yeah, please take it.
So in the multi-sig assignment, I was trying to make an internal call to insert something in storage, but I don't want a user to call it directly. Like, I don't want to be public. I just want to be internal.
Okay. Okay, so how can I make a function that's kind of internal to my palette? It's not extrinsic.
Exactly.
Great. I can show that real quick. And there are some examples of this already in the other projects. So I think if we go to, for example, the DPOS, we'll see it. So what I want to remind you is that an extrinsic is just a function. It's just a Rust function. Everything in these palettes are just Rust functions. What makes an extrinsic different is that with the palette call macro, we generate logic to get the dispatch. So it dispatches the call to the function, right? That call enum all that stuff. But if we look without this macro, all we're doing is implementing functions on a palette, right? So what you can do is you can create a new arm, another implement functions on a palette without the palette macro, and these are all internal functions. Even if they're marked pub, they're only pub in the context of crates, like a crates calling each other. It's not like a user cannot call this find author function. This function is only available to either internally, like if you remove pub, it's only available internally, or it's your crate, or if you put pub, it's available to any crate that imports this crate, right? So it's just Rust crates. So let's go ahead and do that in multisig. So in multisig, I'm going to go to librs. I'm going to do this within the module. So at the very top level, there's a pub mod palette. I'm going to do it inside there. I'm just going to scroll down. Here. Oh, there's already here. I did it already.
Yeah, but the problem I am having is to access the storage of the palette within this function. Can you?
Okay, sure. Wait, it's the wrong level deep, right? Okay, well, I guess this works fine. But okay, so you want to access storage. So if I want to have a function in multisig, what storage do I have? I have the storage something, right? So something. So pub fn get something, right? Which returns a u32. I do something t get palette. You expect it not to compile, or you expect it not to work in some other test? Option. Okay, you want me to return? Okay, so option. Oh, looks okay to me.
It was because I didn't have the type public. I only had the.
You didn't have this.
No, the pub before the type. in
Ah,
storage.
so something. You're saying something was in pub?
Yeah,
Yes, it's pub.
I didn't have that, so I couldn't access.
Okay, sure. Yeah, in that context, I think probably what could have fixed it is probably if you. So let's say that isn't pub. By the way, I think the compiler should yell at you if it does not pub. So let's see. I'm gonna make it not pub as well. Let's see what the compiler says. Undeclared something, right? I think the solution to that would have been just to bring this impl into this module, right? So when it's not pub, you can't access it from outside the mod. But if I brought it in one level deeper, right, into this mod palette, then it works again, right? So this is just the rules of Rust visibility, right? So a module, that pub lets it escape the module. You could do either, you should make it pub, but you can also just bring your functions into the visibility scope, right? Okay. Cargo plus nightly. All right, what's the next question? Go ahead.
Yeah, Shawn. My question is regarding how weight is related to in the free transaction palette. So like we are adding a weight macro at the top of every function, and how we can here, Shawn.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there you go.
So how we can like for a certain amount convert that to a particular weight credit, how the weight is related. Like you just
Sure.
write a macro over there, and that's like.
Let's go ahead and do that. Give me a second. So, okay, yeah, FMT and function with storage. Okay. Okay. So, in the free transaction palette, I think the question I'm hearing is, okay, generally speaking, how am I working with weight? How am I manipulating it, working with it, right? To be honest, this is one of those things I'm not 100% on, and of course the next presentation after lunch will be about weights. So that, but I can give you a sneak preview that we can go into Polkadot SDK. If I search struct weight, this is a weight. A weight is a structure with two items, and they are directly U64. It's a ref time proof size. Notice also on struct, on this weight, there's a bunch of operations. Like you can add weights, you can subtract weights, you can multiply weights. Like there's saturating proof power, accrue, checked sub, checked mole, right? And this mole is on a scalar. So I've looked at the structure, I've looked at the API. Now I have an idea of what I would do. In my head, what I would do is I would create some kind of function. So I'm just going to go down here. My head is something like this. I would create a pub function like balance to weight, right? Which inputs a amount, which is balance of t, and returns a weight. So somehow there's some conversion here, right? And then there's a few hacky ways you could do stuff, like, again, you with types, but keeping things generic, I would have a function which implements this. So somehow I would have a function in my t, convert balance to weight. Convert, right? Which is the amount. So I'm basically doing two layers of this. I don't really need to do that, okay? And I create up here a type convert balance to weight, which is going to do convert, which is what we learned yesterday, right? Convert from balance of self to weight. So let's first make sure that this compiles. I need the convert trait. Thank you, Rust. Ugh, where'd it go? No. Okay, I'm missing. Oh, I'm probably missing the. I'm missing the implementation of it. So let's just do a simple thing. So struct. So pub struct balance to weight. Impl convert balance comma weight for balance to weight. Fn convert A is balance, output is weight, and let's just do, I always return 0 or default. Let's just, this will fill in with logic later, right? But we'll just do this for now. And I need to put this in here. Palette voting. Oh, this is wrong. Did everyone make this update, right? Sorry. I really apologize for that. It's my bad. Free transaction. Then inside the tests, I should replace voting with free transaction. Okay, sorry, that should be, sorry, a little detour. Let's go here. Convert, so I need to import it again in here. Okay, I need weight. The type weight. Missing is not, oh, so I need to, I thought I brought it in already, no? Okay. Darn it. Okay, so let's just move this to the outside. Sorry. And then finally, I'm missing this in the test. Type balance. Wait, convert balance to weight. Convert balance to weight equals balance to weight. Okay. Okay, so this all works. So now this. Then finally, what I might do here is actually do some logic, right? So this is where I can just put whatever logic I want. So if I want one-to-one conversion, right? So let's assume one-to-one. The issue again in the runtime, you know the types, right? So you know that balance is U128. You know weight is 2 U64s, right? So what I would have to do is this. I would do let balance saturating equals a dot. What's the best way to saturate? So someone scream louder. I have a U128 and I want to turn it to U64. Saturating. Saturating into? I think that's the one. So this, and I'm gonna expect this type to be U64, right? And then I could do weight and the two. So there's probably a constructor for weight, right? Let's go back to Polkadot SDK. There's probably a constructor like new. Fn new. Nope. Fn. Oh, from parts. From parts. So this will create a new weight using the 2 items. Or from all. We'll create for all the parts. So this is the constructor. So I can do weight from all balance saturating. Something like that. Saturating into doesn't exist. Saturated into. Love it. Okay, I need to include this type. I mean, there's probably other ways you can do it, right? You could do, you can imagine other ways you can make it. But basically, I mean, you know, U128 could be bigger than U64, right? So I need to handle in my code in the runtime where I know the concrete types. I need to be able to handle safely this conversion. So this conversion is basically taking the biggest number possible from this value, and now it works. So is that a?
Yeah, but like before the transaction happens, I need to know the weight of the transaction so that from the user I can, you
Ah,
know,
Oh, so this is a different question. So I gave that information here, right? So I said, I gave you a function call wait. So you can input a call and you get the wait, and it's basically this: you call get dispatch info wait. And it's in the template.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So yeah. So in this context here, you take the balance from the user. You have some conversion function. You then give them the weight. That's that conversion function.
That
And
weight
then
credits.
yeah, you get the weight. You subtract it, and it should be that you can subtract. So I can do like pub function weight diff, right? Which should be W1, which is a weight, W2, which is a weight, and I guess it returns a weight, right? And I can return W1 minus W2. Like this should work.
Yeah.
Or maybe not minus. Maybe I have to do the functions.
Creating Sub.
Yeah, sub is better. What are the options here? I think we don't want to use minus because that could panic and stuff like that. I think if let's look at this like fn sub. Is there like a safe sub? There's probably fn checked sub. Better.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Something like that. So weight diff should be option weight, right? And it would be W1 checked sub W2.
Thanks.
Ampersand. Okay. Next question. So weight manipulation, conversion, and FMT. Sure.
Since we are like on the weight manipulation part, does it make sense to keep the weights separated if you should we have separate allowances, one for proof
rest
size
time.
and one for
Yes, but come on. That's like again. That is not. Or I say, if you do want to do it, do it. That's not testing me anything, but you can write more code. Like you can.
yeah, because I just added both weights and compared to that.
You add both weights
I added from a weight type, I added like the proof size and the
to make one number.
to make one number, and that's the allowance.
That sounds terrible. That sounds way worse than keeping the weight type. You want to compare it to the weight type. Because when you add them together, you lose context about it. Like, it's like time could be on order of trillions, and proof size is on bytes or megabytes, right? So when you add them together, it's like you lose, like they don't mean anything anymore. So in this context, it's much better to keep this weight object around and constantly be checking. So when there's actually there's operators which would check, does this weight fit into this weight? So if the time is more, but the proof size is less, there are operators which will actually handle that correctly. Right? Let's look real quick. Let's go look. There is probably a function called proofs. Let's see, where is the function? So I have to read through it. Min. So yeah, min. Get the conservative min of self another weight. So the min of the two, max of the two. There's a function to be like, it should like all less than, check div, add ref time, add proof time div. Yeah, all greater than, returns true if all of the sub weights is strictly greater than, any less than, all less than, any greater than or equal. So these are the better tools to use to make sure like, okay, well you have this much weight credit left in the weight type. You're asking for this much weight, which has a combination of parts, is all less than your component. Let's add that actually. So let's just I think that it's nice to add this. So pub function is call allowed, right? Okay, we can imagine that. And so call weight is a weight. User credits is a weight. This sounds like a reasonable API, right? And returns bool. And then we do call weight. What's the API? The API is all less than. We want all less than the other, right? So the call weight all less than the user credits. And that will return a bool, right? Okay, that is this, like, I don't know what you're doing, but this is the way to do it. Work with the weight type.
Okay, yeah, I abstracted from that just to not make the user grades be a weight type.
I mean, honestly, if you, however you did it, if you're somewhere in the ballpark, it's good enough for me. Again, this is a beta project, so maybe some of these functions I'm writing right now I should have included, right? But yeah, I mean, it's fine. And again, you're not learning about weights until next lecture anyway, so.